Hi, welcome to Shellie Soapbox. I'm Shellie, and Soapbox is my platform where I share with you by podcast and also by blog my random thoughts. These thoughts are based upon my experiences, my observations, or maybe something I've read. So after each episode, I'm going to share my perspective and then ask you a question. And I love to hear your feedback. So you can share your comments below, or you can send me an email at shelliesoapbox@gmail.com. I have one request. Whenever you're commenting or sharing feedback, please be respectful. We can agree to disagree, but let us do so in a manner that respects each other's opinions. Thank you. It's no secret that the last 2 years have been quite challenging for many of us, if not all of us. It's been challenging emotionally, mentally, and physically. There have been times for me personally where I've been in such a funky headspace because there have been so many things going on in life internally for me and as well as externally in the world and the globe. And I've thought to myself, how is this reality? How is this real life right now? And that's a question that I'd like to pose to the listeners today. Have you had any experiences where you've thought to yourself, how do I get past this? Are there strategies that I can begin to implement in my life in order to make this journey easier? I often think of life as a roller coaster. You know, we're all excited to get on the roller coaster. We are anticipating that big drop. And as we're going up the first hill, we have our hands raised in the air and we're all excited. And then we get to the top and we don't realize that the drop or the descent, the first descent is going to be as impactful as it is. And suddenly we're afraid. Suddenly we have this drop in our stomach. Suddenly we're feeling nauseous and queasy. But we get past it, right? After a while, that roller coaster goes up, it comes down, and then it starts to level out. But I do imagine life like that. And there was one time last year when I was talking to my cousin, and we were just having a casual conversation. And in that conversation, unbeknownst to her, I was going through anything. She made a statement that really resonated with me, and I wanted to share it with a broader group. So she said to me, in life, in every situation, either find meaning or the silver lining. And even though that was somewhat of a simple statement, I found it to be so profound, and it helped me to look at every situation that I was going through a different lens. And so today I am so delighted to have my cousin, Dr. Kimberly Hodges, with us. She's here in New York City, all the way from Tampa. In Tampa, she's a school psychologist, as well as she operates her own private practice. And I would be remiss not to mention that she is an HBCU graduate.
FAMU all the way.
There you go. So thank you, Dr. Hodges, for being with us. So please share with our audience a bit more about that concept of finding meaning or the silver lining.
Yes, I'm actually happy to hear that touched you. I did make it as if it was a simple comment, but it's something that we can all apply in our lives. It's a strategy that we use in the mental health field, and it's a part of dialectical behavior therapy. And it's called improving the moment. Dialectical behavior has a lot of strategies, but this one in particular, it focuses on that one moment that you are feeling down, you're feeling stressed out, and you need to improve it. Mm-hmm. And so it's based on an acronym, IMPROVE, and each letter stands for a strategy or a technique that you can use to improve the moment.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. So you didn't share that full acronym
No, I didn't
with me.
Yeah.
So I would love to hear about the acronym today. Let's just break it down. If I'm spelling correctly, improve begins with the letter I. So what does that I stand for?
So the I stands for imagery. Basically, visualize something that will give you the opposite mood that you're in. Maybe relax you or make you feel happy. A lot of people do this a lot. We visualize being on a beach, watching the waves. You can visualize a picture. I visualize myself in a different space sometimes. I like to visualize myself in my childhood room, and that's a relaxing place for me where I feel innocent and I'm able to cope with whatever I'm going through. And so it's whatever works for the individual.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. So to your point about beach, that's the image for me. Hawaii all the way.
Oh, yes.
Tropical sun and
That
beach.
sounds
So
real
let's
nice.
make certain that we plan that
Yes.
when this session is over.
Yeah.
So after I is M.
M is what I shared with you, meaning. Finding meaning or the silver lining in a situation. What does this experience teach you? How can you learn from it and move forward? And also find the silver lining. Compare it to something that could have happened. Your situation could be worse. Or you can find something that's really great within that situation, and just dig for it. For example, a lot of people are dealing with childhood trauma, and usually it's natural. People will think back in their past about their traumatic experience, but in terms of finding meaning for that experience, think about what you learned from it. Think about the silver lining. Are you more resilient? Did it teach you how to trust people and really evaluate people that you are around? Who are you today? And so you really have to dig deep when it comes to finding meaning or the silver lining.
I really love that. I really love that. And so following the M is a P.
P
about
stands
P.
for prayer.
Prayer.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm right there with you.
Yes. Pray.
Thank you, God.
Pray to God. Pray to a higher being. And this is the part where you have to really invoke your spirituality and pray, have faith in your prayers, and push those problems away to that higher being.
No, absolutely. I love that concept of prayer,
Yeah.
right? Because to your point, it is this higher authority. It is a God that
Yep.
I believe is in full control. And even when I don't understand, he understands it. And it's so interesting that you say that. There's times, in prayer, a lot of times we think that it has to be so structured, it has to be these certain words, but it is just a conversation with God. And there have been times when I've gone to God completely vulnerable. And that's the great thing about prayer. You can be open
Yep.
and transparent, and you can tell God things that you might not tell anyone
Exactly.
else, right?
Yes.
And so, there've been times when Jesus I'm like, Jesus, what you trying to teach me here?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I think I passed the test, so I'm just going to take the F. Can we move on to the next thing? So I love that. I love that. So after P is R.
R stands for relax. Do something that's going to relax your spirit. Do something that's going to relax your soul. Whether it's taking a nap, which I like to do.
Yes. me
Yes.
too.
Or like
We definitely
Yeah.
connect on that nap thing.
a warm bath, a massage, anything that's relaxing for you. Just looking out the window, doing some deep breathing exercising, that's relaxation.
Yeah, and that's not easy to do.
No, it's not.
It really isn't. I think that a lot of times we say like relax, refresh, thinking that it comes natural. And sometimes when I'm lying down trying to relax, I'm forcing myself to relax.
Yes.
And so how do you overcome something like that when you are put yourself or you placed yourself in a position that you would think you would
Yeah.
relax and you actually are not? You're anxious
Yes.
that you're almost wasting time sitting there. So how do you manage through that?
That's a good question. It's the next letter, which is O.
Okay.
Focus on one thing. One, that's what the O stands for. Being mindful. And so you have to find something to focus on and fix your mind on that one thing. It can involve staring at something so that your mind can calm down and you can breathe and you're reminding yourself to relax. It's doing something relaxing and then you focus on what you're doing. For example, I mentioned taking a nap. So if while I'm taking that nap, I'm focusing on sleeping, like visualizing myself sleeping. A lot of these strategies, they overlap. So you can do more than one thing,
Okay.
which takes imagery if you're having a hard time relaxing, just indulging yourself in that one moment.
Oh, that's really good. That's really good. And that makes complete
Yes.
sense, right? Because that's the problem, right? My mind, personally, I'm just talking about myself, is racing and I'm thinking while I'm lying down, you
Yeah.
know, something else that needs to happen or something I need to get done. So that's
Yeah.
great. So after the O is V.
V stands for vacation.
All right,
Yeah,
let's go.
take a vacation. It could be a real vacation like that Hawaii vacation that you're going to book for us.
Right.
Yeah. or it could be like a small vacation. For example, step out of the situation. A lot of times we could be at work. Work is a perfect example. If you're at work and you're dealing with a lot of stress, maybe the personalities of your colleagues, or it could be just a situation that happens at work, take a vacation. Go out into the parking lot. Sit in your car and scream. Go to the bathroom and look in the mirror and just talk to yourself. Yeah, a lot of people do that.
Right.
But just take a vacation. You have to step out of that situation and get out of that stressful situation. And that's a protective strategy as well for you. Don't wallow in something that's causing you stress.
So that's interesting, right? That you talk about vacation and stepping away. That's been really challenging these last couple of years, especially because of the pandemic,
Yes.
right? It's had many of us on lockdown,
Oh, yeah.
confined. More people are working from home than previously. And so that's another reason
Yes.
why we see the pressures of life really increasing upon us. So how are you able to still use that strategy? I know you said stepping away, but if you're not allowed to go outside, what can you do?
You have to find something to do within the home. Believe me, I went through the pandemic myself. And again, like I said, things overlap. So I found meaning of having to stay at home. Like I started to think to myself, maybe I needed this break.
Right.
Maybe I needed this break and I need to make the best of it. And also, if I needed to step out of a situation and take a vacation, I found other ways to do it. I learned a new skill. A lot of us learn new skills. We learned how to cook. And we stepped away and took a vacation into the kitchen and made the kitchen fun. Some of us set boundaries where it's like, okay, if you're in the house with your spouse, you're like, okay, this is your workspace and this is my workspace. Even setting boundaries within a situation like we did go through with the pandemic and we're still going through it now, that's a way that we can have a vacation. Going into the bathroom, locking the door, and indulging in your senses, lighting a candle, taking a bath, and telling people, setting those boundaries, I need a break from you right now.
Right.
I'm going to go here, and then we'll regroup later. It's a matter of communicating that to people.
That's great, right? The communication part of it, because that can seem a bit isolating
Yes.
if you are not communicating that this is,
Yes.
you know, for my own mental wellness
Right.
and actually for yours
Yes,
as well.
that's very
so no, that's
important.
really, really good. I love that part, and I love the fact, you know, to your point about being able to use that strategy even when you're closed,
Yes.
right? When you're closed.
Yes.
Because also there's another thing, there's a financial component. A lot of people don't have the financial means to actually go on a trip per se.
Yes.
You know, even as things are opening
Right.
out, I want to recognize that there are some people economically that cannot do that, but
Exactly.
there are other things that you can do
Yes.
to still cope.
Right.
And so the final letter is E, so please tell us about E.
E stands for encouragement, self-talk. Encourage yourself. It's okay to talk to yourself and tell yourself that everything is going to be okay.
Yes.
It's okay to remind yourself that you've been through worse situations and you got through it. Make that comparison. Put sticky notes, write signs for yourself, put a vision board up that's encouraging you and cheering you on. It's encouragement.
Right, that's fantastic. And
Yeah.
that's true. We do have to sometimes be our own cheerleader. You have to really recognize and prioritize yourself
Yes.
at times. And that seems selfish, right, to do
No.
that. But it's in the
important.
long run, it helps you be able to cope. So I really appreciate these strategies improve, and we're going to put that up on a screen for those of you that might want to write them down and be
Yes.
able to utilize them in your home. So thank you so much, Kimberly.
Thank you for
I
having
love
me.
you so much.
I love you too.
When I grow up, I want to be just like you. Doctor, I'm calling you Kimberly, but we do not forget that Dr.
Yes.
Hodges. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
joining us. I know that you did have one final comment you wanted to
Yes.
make.
Yes, this is an actual poem that I wanted to share. and it's by Jackson Kidder. And it helps. This is a poem that I actually have up. All of my friends know this. I have it up on my wall in my office, and I keep it on my phone. And it helps me not only think of the meaning behind certain situations I'm in, but it also helps me create balance. So I just wanted to read that poem real quick. And it says, anything that annoys you is teaching you patience. Anyone who abandons you is teaching you how to stand up on your 2 feet. Anything that angers you is teaching you forgiveness and compassion. Anything that has power over you is teaching you how to take your power back. Anything you hate is teaching you unconditional love. Anything you fear is teaching you courage to overcome that fear. Anything you can't control is teaching you how to let go and trust the universe. So this is something that I use and I read it all the time, especially when I have a hard time digging for that meaning. And you can also think of other things in that same format. What is this situation teaching me? And it helps you overcome that situation, and at least accept it and cope with it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening. Please, I'd love to hear from you, love to hear your thoughts. Send them to me via email, shellysoapbox@gmail.com, or provide feedback in the comments. But my only request, whenever you either email me or provide your feedback, please do so with respect. Thank you. Goodbye.